My brother Ed has always been such an outstanding citizen, very responsible, and last year he just snapped.
My uncle had walked away from his family, his kids, his job, everything he'd worked for.
Yippee-ki-yay, y'all.
Ed's a very intelligent person. He was revered in his profession, a lot of people who respected him.
2 years ago, my brother had neck surgery, and when he woke, he had a paralyzed right arm, which resulted in being prescribed medical marijuana.
Once he had started smoking weed, he could not control his thoughts.
And it totally altered his personality.
I've been holding it in too long, and I didn't have a voice, and all of a sudden I feel like I got one and I don't want to waste it.
My brother had several alternate personalities.
Tygg was one of them.
Don't count out Tygg just yet. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. Yeah! Tiggers are wonderful things.
He wanted to be a street dancer.
He would dress up in a cowboy hat, a vest, cowboy boots.
And he seemed so comfortable in that persona, but that wasn't the real Ed.
After his breakup with his wife, he moved in with his parents.
He became very angry and lashing out and blaming my mom for everything.
There would be times where he would be crying and hitting the floor and upset, and then a minute or so later, he would be back to his excited, euphoric stage.
At the height of my uncle's mania, I was worried if he didn't get the help he needed that he was gonna die.
I believe that Ed's mania was brought on by his excessive alcohol, his failed marriage, and the intense pressure of his job. The triggering point of the mania was over a 3-day period. When Ed left his wife, he came home. He was very distraught, very out of place. We really weren't prepared for what we were witnessing. The first night, he wanted to reside in my office above the garage. My wife wanted him to stay in the house where she could keep an eye on him. The second day, he was having a manic episode, and we were in the car. He made claims that he wanted to punch her, that he felt like he could strangle her. Following day, he confronted his mother, blamed his problems all on her. She stifled them by being overly protective. A few months later, Ed came to the house, very manic, dressed in his cowboy attire, very threatening towards the family. He said that he was there to fight. He then said that if I ever came to Nevada, I would be taken care of the way men take care of problems out there. And he pointed his finger and pulled the trigger. The police were called and they arrested him. I am willing to forego any future I have with him to ensure that he receives the healing that he so desperately needs. This is it. He's my boy.
Well, Charles, we don't want that to happen. We don't want you to forego any relationship with him, but I understand what you're saying. You would sacrifice whatever necessary for his good, is what you mean, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do you think's going on with your son?
We were unaware of his alcohol use. He hid it very well because I believe he did not want to hurt the image, that his mother had of him.
You say he hid it well because he's been a very functional individual, right?
Yes.
Like he had a career in the aerospace industry.
Yes.
He was a flight controller.
Yes.
So big responsibility. And during this time that he was functioning as a flight controller, was he a functioning alcoholic?
Highly functioning alcoholic is what we refer to him as.
Okay.
He considered himself a highly functioning alcoholic.
Okay. But with this going on, is there a history in the family of mental illness?
Yes, there is. And when this first happened, my fear was that something was coming out that was schizophrenia type illness.
So you say he snapped about a year ago.
He thought he was a messenger and that aliens were sending him signals. And then it went from that to he thought he was getting messages from God like John the Baptist, and that's what started some of the street preaching and the baptizing of Bill with a water bottle and himself.
He mentioned to me that he was the Messiah, and then John the Baptist, and that's when he baptized me with a bottle of water.
What we believe happened is once he started smoking that medical marijuana, it was about a month later that we say he snapped. It's almost like it brought out an underlying mental illness in him.
Life on the road's been really difficult. Been kicked out of a lot of places. My manic behavior has been interpreted as being either drunk or high, and I'm often asked to leave. My parents' refusal to offer me the help that I was asking for during what was the biggest crisis of my life ended with me out here in Nevada. I typically smoke about 4 times a day. It helps enhance my creativity. Well, I was arrested several times for DUI, for battery, even though I didn't lay a finger on anybody. My manic behavior would single me out and draw my attention, law enforcement. I was living off of my savings. I had no means to support myself. So for a time, I was a street preacher, and I was basically living off of the proceeds and the kindness of strangers. Part of the way I used to get attention as a street minister is that I used to dance. People would give me donations of money, food, sometimes marijuana. I kind of hit my financial rock bottom. I didn't feel like I was getting the support that I needed at home. I had stresses from the job, and unhappy home life led to me to step away from my career for a while. I left my wife and children. I went to my parents' house with the expectation that they would take me in, but they were so smothering and overbearing. I felt like all the pressure in my life was like a champagne bottle that had been shaken up until the cork finally popped. My parents triggered a nervous breakdown.
You were in the aerospace industry?
That's correct.
And you were a controller?
Flight controller. So if you saw a movie like Apollo 13, I would be the guys with the headsets on. Just no astronauts on the other end of the line, just a spacecraft.
And then you just walked away from it, right?
I did. I left over concerns for my health. After a surgery back in 2019, an anterior cervical vertebrectomy, I had 3 vertebrae removed. And in the ensuing months, I started rapidly losing weight, about 50 pounds. I had lost at the time that I ended up leaving. So my walking away from the career was more to do with my health reasons. But ultimately, it was determined that because of my psychiatric troubles, that was ultimately why, or how they filed for disability for me.
Are you mentally ill?
Absolutely.
What do you think is wrong with you?
Well, I've been diagnosed with bipolar.
You believe that's right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I definitely, well, I was dysthymic for pretty much my whole life, so depression was something that I was used to. Manic was something brand new for me. I had never had that, like, euphoria and impulsiveness and recklessness and things like that I experienced during the manic phase.
Okay, and would you say that you've had manic episodes where you were really agitated, highly energetic, and sometimes even kind of having a difficult time separating fantasy from reality?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was about a 7-month span of time that, my mind was just working on thinking on many levels at once, thinking very fast. And just inability to, govern my speech and to the decorum of social situations.
When Ed would get really manic and religious, he would say that he is John the Baptist or the Messiah.
I was raised in a very religious family.
But one time he had me trapped on the chair for hours filming him. He baptized me with a bottle of water.
I was encouraged by youth leaders to get involved in ministry.
He came over and he was throwing water on me.
My goal at the age of 18 was to become a youth minister.
And I got up to get a towel, and he's cursing me, telling me to come sit back down.
I just felt very passionate about spreading the gospel.
What's your reaction to what Bill's saying there.
I mean, he's absolutely right. I was, when I would go on a, diatribe or whatever, I just felt like, whatever I was saying was the most important thing in the world. And it was all a very goofy thing. We were laughing quite a bit that day. And as I'm talking, I baptized myself and then but it was not an actual, meant to be a real religious experience. It was just talking and being goofy, but I did expect a lot of patience out of my sister and brother-in-law especially.
You've not seen your stepfather since March.
I already grieved the loss of my mother and stepfather.
Well, are you saying you've written him off? It's over, you've grieved it, he's gone?
I just feel like that relationship is over now.
Mm-hmm. Why is it over?
I just feel like there's no more to benefit from continuing. I mean, I was very hurt by their behavior, both their initial way that they treated me and then the way that they basically had me arrested by saying that I was a danger to myself and others, and that was completely untrue. The last time I saw my father, he tried to attack me and then called the police on me saying that I came there looking for a fight.
Would you agree that you've been erratic in your behavior and your emotions?
Yes.
After surgery, I had some nerve damage. I started smoking medicinal marijuana to alleviate my symptoms. The real benefit that I got from the drug was it was transformative for me mentally.
Once my Uncle Ed started smoking medical marijuana, he left his old life behind and became this different person. He wanted to put the past behind him, all the negativity, all the sadness.
I do want my brother to stop doing weed. He feels like it's his medicine, but it's actually tearing him apart.
God put marijuana on this planet was that it's something that should be embraced and not shunned.
There's a group in the United States called the Amen Clinics, and they are a group of mental and physical health clinics that work on the treatment of mood and behavior disorders. And Dr. Daniel Amen is a really good friend of mine, and he has the largest database of brain scans in the world to compare all different kinds of disorders with that. And I will set you up at the Amen Clinic to have your brain scanned, non-invasively, by the way, to see what your brain is doing, to find out how it is reacting, see where you are neurotransmitter-wise. I will also arrange for a DNA test to be done, which is very, very simple, that will tell us if you do need medications, which ones they are, and if you are abreacting, having a bad reaction to the chemicals that you're getting in alcohol and marijuana. So we aren't shooting in the dark. We know what's going on. Wouldn't you want to know that? Yes. And when you are clear, bright-eyed, and seeing things without any distortion, if you still say this relationship is over, that's your discretion. You're a grown man. You make up your own decisions. But I would ask you to withhold judgment about those things, and these are things we can get done right away so you can know where you are. So I'm offering to help you, not judge you. I just want to give you this as a great starting point, and from that, a sustained treatment plan can be put together. I think you deserve some help, and I want to offer it to you.
Thank you.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.